I love being a comedian. I also really love talking to audience members after shows. But one thing all comedians hate is when the audience wants to tell us jokes. Now, our friends know not to do this because that is not how it works. Like after you have a great meal in a restaurant, you don't go into the kitchen and make Kraft macaroni and cheese for the chef. After your plane lands, you do not fly the pilot home. After the Mets lose, the fans do not take the field and make the Mets lose all over again. After you confess to a priest, he does not turn around and confess to you. Now, maybe you should. Be a very different world, but that's not how it works. So, last summer I was taking a seaplane flying lesson, and seaplanes are a little dangerous, so my best friend Mark, we've been best friends since high school, he said, after the lesson, call me up. You know how, like, 40 years ago, if you flew somewhere, your mother would say, call me when you landed to make sure you're okay? Right? Like she wouldn't hear about a plane crash? My brother used to fly in business all the time, and every time he went somewhere, I would call my mother up, and I would say, Mom, did you see the news? And scare the hell out of her. Until I told her something from the news that had nothing to do with a plane crash. That is how you cure an over-worrying Jewish mother. So Mark came to my house last summer for a barbecue, and all my friends were sitting in these $7 plastic chairs I got from CVS. Now I know some of you are thinking, Shaun Eli, you're a rich, famous comedian and you have $7 chairs? But these are great chairs. A major, famous international celebrity has the exact same chairs. I know this because a few years ago they showed his estate on the news. This is absolutely true. Saddam Hussein and I have the same chairs. But Mark is over 300 pounds. So he did not want to sit in a plastic chair. So he took one of the rusty metal chairs from under my deck, and he went out and he put it on the lawn, and it had rained the day before, so the ground was kind of soft. And the legs are like thinner than this. And he sits down on the chair, it sinks right into the ground. And I don't believe in laughing at the misfortune of others, but this could have happened to anybody and it was hilarious. But my friends are glaring at me because they think I'm laughing at him because he's over 300 pounds. So to show them this could happen to anybody, I pull the chair out of the ground, I move it a few feet, and I go to sit down on it. Now, of course, I'm worried that it's not going to sink into the ground with me. So I sit down on the chair really hard, and it doesn't sink into the ground. No, the legs break and the chair collapses. And nobody is laughing but Mark. So as I said, Mark and I have been friends since high school, and every time I call him up, I say something silly when he answers the phone. So I called him up after my flying lesson, and I said I would like to order a large pie with ham, pineapple, and what's left of my dignity as a New Yorker shredded across the top. And Mark says, who's Todd Mirsky? And that may be the beginning of a joke that I've not heard, so I said, I don't know. Who's Todd Mirsky? And Mark says, you're using his phone. And I say, no, I'm not. This is my phone. I bought it new. I've had the phone for a year. I've had the same cell number for 10 years. And he says, well, my caller ID says Todd Mirsky. So I say, hold on. I call him back. Still Todd Mirsky. So I go home. I call my landline. Yeah, I still have one. Sue me. So I call my landline, and it says Todd Mirsky. So my cell phone carrier is Google Fi. And Google Fi, they don't have their own towers, but they have contracts with 2.5 other cell phone companies to use their equipment. It's with T-Mobile, Sprint, and US Cellular. Yeah, that's the half. You probably didn't even know they're still around. So I call Google Fi and I say, take Todd Mirsky's name off my phone and put my name on it. And they say, that is not a feature that we offer. And I'm like, a feature? And they say, yeah, that is not a feature we offer. So I say, you know, my car has a sunroof. That is a feature. My car also has reverse. That's not a feature. For those of you who don't drive, let me give you a different analogy. If you tell me that your girlfriend is gorgeous, she's got beautiful blue eyes, that is a feature. If you tell me that your girlfriend is gorgeous, she's got 2 eyes, both on her face, one on the left and one on the right, in the region of her nose, that is not a feature. That is how girls have come from the factory for at least 50 years. So I go back and forth with Google, find literally 100 emails back and forth, can't do anything. So I think about what to do, and then I realize WNBC TV here in New York has a consumer reporter, Linda Beccaro. Her segment, you're familiar with this, her segment is called Better Get Beccaro. So I send him an email. Not a minute later, they call me up, and they said they would love to feature a comedian on their segment. Now I realize Google may be a giant tech company, but they're in for a fight. Because NBC is owned by Comcast, a cable company. Nobody is meaner than a cable company. So Google is in for a fight if the cable company actually shows up. But they do. Linda Beccaro shows up with a cameraman and a producer, and I realize, I've got Beccaro. And I show her this stack of 100 emails that back and forth with Google that I've printed out. And I say to them, I say to the camera crew on camera, you know, I realized it would probably be easier to change my name to Todd Mursky than it would be to get Google to fix this. I say talking to Google Fi is like talking to a 3-year-old. The answer you get has nothing to do with the question. Timmy, where's your socks? Cookies! Unfortunately, I don't have an end to this story. I think Todd Mursky has it. But that's okay, because on NBC TV, they showed a clip of me on stage in a theater telling jokes, which means that my cell phone bill is now tax deductible. Thank you very much.